Welcome to your Vinyasa practice. If you weren't here last week, we started to switch gears and working more towards core and spinal movement and engagement. And one of those ways that we really get to practice that is in a shape called Bakasana crow pose. And last week we had a little bit of an experience of working into crow pose. And this week we're going to break it down a little bit more slowly. What's really helpful to build that confidence in shapes like this that might be a little bit more complex is repetition and attention to detail and learning how to engage those muscles that you need to do a specific pose. So in this case, that's a lot of core strength, anterior core strength. That's the front body and hip flexors. And then the spine, like I mentioned, is in flexion. So flexion is like a forward fold, or you could think of cat-like shape in the spine, what I'm demonstrating here, which is where we're going to start. So go ahead and come to your hands and your knees. Start out in a tabletop shape for a moment. And then just press the floor away, press the hands down, spread those fingers wide, whole palm flat. And then start to round your upper back towards the ceiling. Tuck your tailbone under, tuck your chin in, and just feel that flexion in the spine. Take a deep breath in here. Nice long breath out. You're just holding this static, seeing what that feels like, active through the arms. Hugging your navel into your back body, so engaged in the core muscles. Take one more breath here. And then relax that, come to a neutral spine. We're going to walk our hands forward. Curl the toes under, lift the knees up, find high plank, and just pause in a moment in high plank. And now start to see if you can feel those hip flexors squeezing, engaging, and still core muscles squeezing, engaging. Slight round through the upper back. You're still really active through your hands, pressing the floor away. Give me one more breath here. And then let's lift those hips up and back. Find downward facing dog. Relax your head here. Head heavy, back of the neck nice and long if you can, and just start to bend your knees right and left. Bend your knees right and left. All right, let's take another deep breath in your downward facing dog. And then we'll extend that right leg up and back. Exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Let your left knee come down to the mat. Take a deep breath in, sweep your arms up towards the ceiling. And now we're going to flick the fingers up towards the ceiling. So you're really reaching your arms high and then flick your fingers up towards the ceiling. So you're just kind of opening and closing your hands, almost like you're trying to dry some water off of your fingertips. And I want you to increase the speed of that. So doing it a little bit quicker. So one of the things we want to be aware of when we're working with arm balance is all that body weight's transferring into the hands, which is it's a lot on the wrist. So we want those muscles around the wrist to be engaged. Mainly that's the forearm strength. And then of course it transfers up to biceps and upper back and core strength and hip strength, all the things I talked about at the beginning. Give me one more breath here. And then relax those arms, just kind of shake them out for a moment. And then hands back to the mat. Let's step back to our downward facing dog shape. Pause and breathe there. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. Exhale, left foot steps forward, right knee to the mat. Lift up through your arms. This time, you're going to clap your hands. So instead of flicking the fingers, you're trying to make some sound by clapping your own hands. So reach those arms high towards the ceiling. Clap, clap, clap. This should be kind of like well, a myriad of sensations, maybe kind of like a burning sensation around the forearms, achy sensations. All that's good signs that muscles are starting to learn how to fire. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Deep breath in. Nice long breath out. One more inhale. And then exhale, relax those arms. Just swing them alongside your body a few times. Plant those hands forward, step that left knee back, just come into a simple tabletop shape. I want to just do a little bit of rotation with the wrists. So we're going to take those fingertips back towards the knees, heel of the hand facing forward. If this is too hard to do in that full rotation, maybe you just try fingertips out to the sides a little bit. You could work one hand back at a time. And then let's find that spinal flexion in this shape again. So we're tucking the chin under, we're tucking the tailbone under, we're pressing the floor away with that whole hand if we can. And it's okay if you can't get your whole heel down onto the mat. Just try. And take one more breath here. And then we'll start to turn the hands forward, walk the hands forward. Let's find that high plank, tucking the toes, lifting the knees. Pause, breathe. Lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. Exhale, shift forward, three-legged high plank, three-legged high plank. So pause and stabilize. That left hip flexor quadricep muscle has to do a lot of stabilizing work. We're going to bend that right knee, pull it forward towards the right tricep. See if you can make a connection. Pause and breathe. So again, you're rounding your spine. Now you're adding on that hip flexion, right side. One more breath here. Three-legged down dog, right leg high. So press the floor away, lift the hips. Extend that right leg up and back. Go ahead, open the hip, bend that right knee. Point it towards the ceiling. So adding a little rotation in the spine. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Set that right foot back to the mat, downward facing dog. Let's take one stabilizing breath here. And then second side. So we'll lift the left leg up and back. Simply shift forward, find that three-legged high plank, pause and stabilize. Right quadricep muscle has to do a lot of stabilizing work. Make sure you're using your core muscles as well. Hips are just a little bit higher than they would be in a normal high plank. And then let's pull that left knee forward towards the left tricep. And you might make a connection, you might not, but the intention is there. And that's what matters. Take one more breath. Press the floor away, lift the hips high, extend the left leg up and back, bend the left knee, point it towards the ceiling. Three-legged down dog with a twist. Relax your head. And then set that left foot back down. Let's inhale, shift forward, high plank, just normal high plank. Lower all the way to the belly, chaturanga. Inhale, press the floor away. You might find low cobra or upward facing dog. And then we'll press all the way back to downward facing dog or child's pose if those wrists need a little break. 2 stabilizing breaths here. Good. So we're going to make our way forward to the top of the mat, coming into a forward fold. So you can tippy toe, you can step, you can hop. Forward fold at the top of your mat. Let your head hang heavy. And then in your forward fold, I want you to bring your big toes together to touch. So the inner edges of the feet are really close together. They're touching. Just going to turn to face you. And then my fingertips are forward underneath my shoulders to counterbalance that. We're going to take a nice deep, deep squat here. Deep squat. Heel bones will lift off the mat. You're just squatting nice and low. And I just want you to get a sense of what the body is doing in this shape. Deep hip flexion, hands walk forward a little bit. I'm going to turn to the side again. So inner edges of the feet are touching. And then see if you can balance on your tippy toes here, not your tippy toes, but the ball mounds of your feet. Extend your arms off the ground and just connect triceps to knees. Try to connect your triceps to your knees. So you're pulling your triceps back into your knees. Flex your wrists, fingertips pointing towards the ceiling. Hands are off the ground. You're just balancing here. What has to happen to help stabilize you in this shape? Hip flexors and core. Okay. And then hands to the floor. Just shift forward. You're not even thinking about bringing your feet off the mat. You're just shifting forward. You might come to the tippy toes. Feet are not coming off the mat. You're just shifting body weight forward. And then let's come back into our forward fold. Head heavy. Forward fold, head heavy. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Let's sink those hips, bend the knees, rise up to Utkatasana chair pose. Extend those arms straight forward. Pause here, breathe. Exhale into your forward fold. Head heavy. And we'll do that twice more with a little twist. So we'll inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, extend the arms forward, and then bring the hands together at the heart. Stay in your Utkatasana with your legs. We're rotating the right elbow to the outer left thigh. So hands together in prayer, rotate, right elbow to outer left thigh. Now give a little pressure there with that right elbow to your outer left thigh, but press that left thigh also back into the right elbow. So you're not letting your knees collapse to the inside of the mat. You're holding strong through your legs. Let's inhale, come back through center, extend the arms. And then exhaling, hands back to the heart. Rotating left elbow to outer right thigh. Left elbow to outer right thigh. Make the connection, but don't let your knees collapse to the left side of your mat. So stay forward with your knees. Press that right knee into your left elbow. Big breath in. Feel your hip flexors working here. And then back to Utkatasana. Arms straight forward. Exhale, forward fold. Crawl your hands forward, walk your feet back, find downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Nice long breath out. Inhale, extend your right leg up and back. Exhale, right knee forward. Try to connect your right knee to your right armpit. So hug that right knee up, up, up. So you can connect it into the armpit. So it's going a little higher than normal. And then step your right foot to the top of the mat. We're coming up to warrior one. So spin that left heel bone flat. Nice deep bend in the right knee. Lift up through the torso. Standing up in warrior one. Back heel bone's going to stay connected the whole time. This foot is flat. It's at a 45-degree angle. We're turning our chest forward, and we're really cementing down in our legs. We're going to come into humble warrior, hands interlaced behind the back. You could always keep your hands at the waist too if the interlace isn't possible. Either way, try to get nice and broad across the chest. Commit to your feet staying planted. Hinge forward from the hips. And try to connect that right shoulder to the inner right knee. Right shoulder to the inner right knee. So as you're folding over your right thigh, stay grounded and committed in your left foot, left heel bone, pinky toe edge of that left foot, strongly rooted. And just notice what's going on in the right hip. So basically here you have your half Bakasana crow pose. Your spine is in flexion. Your hip flexor is deeply flexed. So just see how that feels. Breathe. Let's rise back up to warrior one. Arms stretch up towards the ceiling. And then hands plant top of the mat, step back, high plank. Let's move through a vinyasa flow of your choosing. So you can shift forward, move all the way through chaturanga up dog. You could also just simply set the knees to the mat and take some cat and cow. It's one of my favorite alternatives to taking a full-blown chaturanga up dog, down dog. So wherever you're, maybe you're resting in child's pose for a few breaths. Maybe you're just hanging out in downward facing dog. We're going to take 2 more breaths here. Try to relax your head, the back of your neck. Breathe. And then same thing, second side. So if you're coming from child's pose, maybe you do this from tabletop. You could even do it from tabletop. Inhale, left leg, sweep it up and back. Exhale, as you shift forward, that left knee is going higher, trying to connect to the armpit, left armpit. Pause there, squeeze, 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 and then step the left foot forward. Top of the mat, spin that right foot flat. Rise up to warrior one. Okay, so again, we're committing that right foot, pinky toe edge of that right foot at the back of your mat, flat, 45-degree angle towards the top of the mat. Nice deep bend in that left knee. Arms sweep back. Let's find that interlace or hands to the waist. Broad across your chest. Deep breath in. Exhale, fold. Hinging at that left hip. Rounding the spine. So you're letting your head be heavier. Rounding the spine. The spine is in forward flexion. Left shoulder, try and connect it to inner left knee. Head heavy here. Breathe. What's going on in that back right foot? Connect there. Let's take one more breath. And then inhale, sweep those arms up, rise up, reach up. Hands back to the top of the mat. Option to move that through a vinyasa flow of your choosing. And then meet me in either your child's pose or your downward facing dog. And we'll take 3 breaths here to just reset. All right, so we're going to come again to a forward fold at the top of the mat. So any way you want to make your way there, forward fold, top of the mat. And again, we're going to get our big toes to touch. We're going to take a nice deep squat. So heels are coming up off the ground. Inner edges of the feet are touching. Walk those hands forward. And I'm just turning so you can face me. Actually, maybe I'll do a side angle. All right, so everything's pointing in the same direction. Fingertips, toes, hips, shoulders. We're all going in the same direction, okay? So remember when we were in high plank and I had you bring your right knee forward to your right armpit, and then we did that same thing again on the second side, left knee forward to left armpit. See if you can find that connection here. Knees nestling up into the armpits. And then can you take your hands off the ground, flex those wrists, fingertips pointing up, and press those triceps back. So you have this really strong connection of your triceps pressing into your knees, your hips flexing deeply, and your core working for you here. Now we're going to place those hands back down on the mat. And I don't want you to think about lifting your feet at all. No lifting the feet. Take that out of the equation. Just simply move your body forward. Simply move your body forward onto your hands. And maybe you start to feel yourself getting lighter on the toes. Okay, so just coming to the toes, maybe the feet are getting lighter because you're moving that body weight forward. And then if you want to try one heel bone off the ground at a time, fine. But it's because it's so light, you're moving all that body weight forward. Okay, whatever you're doing, downward facing dog, downward facing dog. Pause and breathe. Give yourself a nice stretch. Let's actually walk the elbows down to the floor. Find dolphin. Give the wrists a little break. So elbows on the floor, our forearms are parallel, palms are flat. It's your downward facing dog on your forearms. All right, so now we're going to take the knees to the mat and then come to the center of the mat and take a seat. So we're turning our crow pose in all of these different angles. So we tried it on our hands. We're going to try it seated. We'll try it on our back, and then we'll come forward and try it on our hands again. So again, remember repetition, firing those muscles, and then repetition and firing those muscles is the key to success with things like this. So we're going to try and get those knees into the armpits. Okay, so first hands forward, knees into the armpits, and then try and rock back a little bit, lift your feet up, and then squeeze here. Can you get a little bit tighter squeeze? Make that connection. See how much your hip flexors actually have to work here? This is not easy. So the spine is rounding. Can you feel that? Maybe the hip flexors are getting a little shaky because I'm having you hold this. Can you take one more breath here? And then let's come all the way onto the back. And just pause for a moment. Maybe stretch your arms overhead. Give yourself a little lengthening. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. All right, so we're going to start with the upper body and then we'll add the legs. Same thing you just did. Now you're laying down crow pose on your back. So first, listen. Arms stretch up towards the ceiling, flex those wrists. Like the palm of your hand can make a handprint on the top of the ceiling. From here, you're going to round your spine. So you're going to curl your chin into your chest, lift your shoulder blades off the floor. You're going to feel those core muscles engage. Keep that. And then lift the knees, tuck those knees into the armpits. Pause there, hold. Maybe bring your inner feet together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze with the knees, with the legs, with the hips, with the core. One more breath here. Let's hug those knees into the chest. We'll rock and roll up to a seat, and then we'll roll forward over our hands and knees, step back to downward facing dog. Downward facing dog for a breath. Inhale, shift forward, high plank. Just for a moment, right knee forward, right tricep or armpit. Try for the armpit. Step the right foot back, high plank. Left knee forward for the tricep, or maybe squeeze it up to the armpit. Step it back, high plank. Shift forward on your tippy toes. Let's move through a vinyasa. Remember, that can be cat and cow. Meet me in your downward facing dog. All right, so disclaimer, the sweatier you get, the harder it is to get those elbows or armpits or triceps to stick to the knees. So if you're getting sweaty like me, have a little bit of grace with yourself. Let's start to come to the center of the mat. You can walk your feet forward, walk your hands back, big toes touching, squat low. All right, so we're going to workshop this a little bit more in our crow pose. If you're scared of coming forward, I recommend having a pillow right underneath your face. So like you're looking forward onto that pillow, and you can even rest your head on it in like a nice, slow, methodical way. So come back into that deep squat. Let your heel bones lift. Big toes touching, elbows bent a little bit. So you're kind of making this shelf. Those knees are hugging into the armpits. And then before you even think about lifting your feet, you're just shifting the body weight forward into the hands. Forward, forward, forward. You might get light on your feet. Maybe one foot off the floor at a time. Maybe you just try switching sides. Maybe both feet off at the same time. And if that pillow's right there, you can kind of lean your forehead onto it and just get a sense of what it feels like to take the feet off the floor. Some days are easier than others. If you're workshopping this still, give yourself a couple more breaths. And then meet me in dolphin. Give those wrists a little bit of a break. Stretch out the upper back. Dolphin pose. Now just take a moment to reflect on your crow pose practice for the day. It's going to be different each time you come to your mat. Sometimes I can pop right into it. It's easy. I feel like I could hold it for 2 minutes or longer. And some days I feel like I'm really struggling. So it's not a reflection on you being a bad yogi. Oftentimes it has a lot more to do with what's going on in your daily life. Can you focus? What's going on in your body? How is your sleep? Are you here with me right now? Let's come down to child's pose if you're still up in dolphin. Find child's pose. You might take your hands underneath your forehead. Let your forehead rest on the backs of your hands. You could also take your hands back towards your feet. Give those shoulders a little bit of a break. Maybe add a little bit of movement side to side. Roll that forehead right to left. Two more breaths here. Now we've done a lot of forward flexion and hip flexion. So let's kind of take this last few moments together to do the exact opposite of that and open up through the chest, open up through the hips. So I'll suggest that you come onto your back. We'll set up for Supta Baddha Konasana, which is a reclined bound angle shape, which you can do in a back bend. So if you have props around you, maybe something goes underneath those shoulder blades, your upper back, I'm using a block. You could use a pillow, a couch cushion, a rolled up blanket, and then maybe something underneath the back of the head if that's comfortable. Want your neck to be relaxed, throat soft. Stretch those arms out wide like a big capital T, palms face the ceiling. And then soles of the feet together, knees out wide, knees are bent. So body's in the exact opposite position of what you've been working towards for the past 25 minutes. Let's just practice acknowledging what came up for us, maybe frustration or a feeling of success or feeling of curiosity. Whatever it is, let it be present. Maybe acknowledge it. You could even say a word or two out loud about how you felt. And then imagine as if you could let it all go, whatever perceived success or failure or anything in between, just let it go. It doesn't matter. Let it go. Let's take one more breath where we are. Still have those props underneath your upper back. We'll slowly roll off to the side, move them out of the way. Come all the way down onto your back, free of any props. Hug your knees into your chest, rock a little bit side to side. Just do a brief little twist. Knees off to the left, right arm stretching off to the right. 2 breaths here. Rotate the knees off to your right side. Stretch your left arm wide off to the left. 2 breaths here. Come back to the center. Maybe you take a little bit of time in happy baby if you'd like to. You could rock that side to side. You could play with extending out through the legs one at a time or both together. And then if there's anything else you're craving before your Shavasana, now would be the time to take it. Maybe that means you're setting up your final Shavasana. I like to take something underneath the backs of my knees. I like to take a pillow underneath the back of my head or a folded up blanket. This one has dog hair on it, so I'm going to skip it. All right. So once you're in that final shape, relax those shoulders down the back. Slightly tilt the chin into the chest. Let's just take a minute here together to breathe. Find some silence, find some ease in your body. Nothing left to do. Just let yourself breathe and be. Shavasana. So if you have longer in your day, feel free to stay here for Shavasana, or you can always close your practice here too. If you'd like to come to an upright seat briefly, you can make your way there. Just take a few moments to close our practice with intention. If you're sitting up, see if you can sit up nice and tall, shoulders relaxed over the hips, ears relaxed over the shoulders. Maybe the eyes stay closed or the gaze is very soft. Deep breath in through your nose. See if you can extend your exhale out a little bit longer than your inhale. We'll count that out 2 times. So let's inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In 1, 2, 3, 4. Out 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let that go. Normal breath. Joining the hands together at the heart. Bowing the chin into the chest if you wish. Take a moment to honor your practice with reverence and gratitude. May you remember that you will always be okay. May you find a light that guides you and keeps you safe. May you have hope, help, and happiness along the way. Namaste, yogis.